5 months ago. It sold for almost $2.4 million. So in the comments, I guess they wanted to know what my opinion is, because I really don't know the console. All I know is, was at Abbey Road, and Beatles used it, and a bunch of famous people used it. And while I'm talking, I'll have some pictures playing in the background. And at the end of my comments here, I'll play the video that they had on Reverb. That's it's about 18 minutes long, and it explains the console and what they did. And it took them 4 years to restore this console. And it looks beautiful and it looks very, very nice. But $2.4 million, even when the music industry was just smoking hot, and the record companies had a ton of money, and studios had a ton of money, I don't see any studio putting a console in of this worth into their studio. The only other place I've seen this kind of console is over at Mark Knopfler's studio. I think it was called British Groove or British Grove in England. He has one on the side, then he has his Neve console in the front. And he's somebody that could afford this console to be there. But a regular studio, I just don't see them doing it, and I don't know how it's going to recoup. So I'm thinking some rich guy bought it, or some corporation bought it, and they're putting it in storage, and it's going to sit there for a long time, and maybe it'll be exhibited at a museum. But as far as going into service and being used, I don't see that happening. I did see they got Les Paul's old console, and they refurbished that, and they put it in a school. I think it's out in Los Angeles, someplace where they you can take classes, and there's the console there with all the original equipment that Les Paul used. And that's kind of interesting, but it's not a console that's sold for this kind of money. But that's not saying it couldn't. If you took that console and put it up for auction, it probably would get a good amount of money too. So my opinion on this, it's nice that they restored it. It's nice that they're retaining history. The bad side of it is I just don't see it being used all that much, because it's such a valuable console. It's kind of like classic guitars that they're being bought up by collectors.
Wow, $2.3 million, almost 2.4 mil for that console. But they're saying that's the Abbey Road console. It came from Abbey Road. They upgraded everything. Very expensive board, but I don't know that much. Sheesh. Well, you know how many people have recorded with that console? You have to think of all the bands that came out of Britain or London or whatever. Even probably Jimi Hendrix, Beatles. Who knows? Maybe even possibly Zeppelin. We don't know. A lot. Let's continue to watch this. Very interesting. That's a very heavy console, and boy, I'd love to get one of them, but you can't get them no more like that. I did put the description of this channel in my
chat. Not being played. That's kind of in that vein. So there you go. So right after this, here's the video of I think Reverb did it, or the people that were selling it did it, which is pretty nice, and it goes through the whole console.
Meet Justin Wright, savvy spender.
Stupid commercials.
Hamish, you there?
Great to see you.
My brother.
I'm Malcolm Jackson, and this is my son Hamish. And we've been restoring this console, the TG12345 Mark I, which came from Abbey Road and was made in 1969. And it's been a job that lasted about 4 years.
So there's 17 in total that EMI made, and this is the only Mark I because it was the prototype. They had no idea that it would be so rare and valuable, precious and sought after, because it's so revered in comparison with what came next.
We're going to record on it, and we're going to have fun.
That is
And it's
incredible.
going to sound great.
At that time, that
Anybody
was
who
like
gets this
state
console,
of the
in the
art.
end, it'll be the most famous studio in the world. What do you think?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Who shall I look at? Shall I look at you?
Yeah.
Or at the camera?
I mean,
Yeah, never at the camera, apparently. Mike Hedges, recording engineer, record producer. First time it's been used in anger for 60 years, is it? I think something close to that. It enhances pretty much everything that goes through it. Beautiful sounding machine. First.
All right, so what this guy was saying was there's only like so many of them that were built. Like 17, I think he said, or 13 of them. And this is the only one that was a special model. Excuse me, I'm under attack.
First experience with TGs was 1979 Abbey Road Studio 2 with The Cure, actually. And the console was like nothing I'd ever seen. It was like a Star Trek console or something. When they decided to take the TG out of Studio 2, they said, we'll let you have the EMI Mobile, which is a TG Mark II. We had no spares for the mobile. So I said to Brian Gibson and Phil Hancock, have you got any spares? And then they came back and they said, oh, we have piles of bits and pieces if you're interested. And we put the light grey parts together, thinking about using them as spares and things. We realized we had a whole console and it didn't say Mark II and it didn't say Mark III. It said nothing on it. It was actually the original prototype to the Mark I, which had been installed in Abbey Road Studios briefly, had recorded the Beatles' Abbey Road and George Harrison solo parts and Paul McCartney solo parts.
All right, man. There's the bands. Oh, George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. Ringo Starr. McCartney. Beatles. Billy Preston. I imagine there's tons of them that used it.
And the individual parts of the band. It was only in the studio about a year. Terry Britton ended up with several parts of it, parts we didn't have. Obviously, I had the rest of it.
Sometimes it can.
Sorry about these stupid commercials. Boy, that console sounds great. Got a real warm sound to it.
So I'm Robbie Nelson. I'm an engineer and mixer, and I had the pleasure of probably being the first person to record on this desk, maybe since the Beatles were. Using this console for this session, I mean, it was a massive honor for a start. It's got an amazing EQ. Considering basically on each channel, it's only got a treble and a bass, but they're so broad and they're so musical that it kind of worked. We recorded a whole band on it yesterday, and we didn't really need anything else. The compressors are insane. It's almost like having a Fairchild on every channel, and it really.
That's pretty interesting because all it had was a treble and a bass adjustment, and this board had no mids, right? It only had lows and highs, and that was it. No mids, nothing. And what he's saying is, with the compressors, the way the board was built and everything, it really was, that was all it needed, was a treble, and the range on the treble might have even covered some of the mids. Maybe the bass was so wide that it covered into the mids also.
Grabs you, and it all still works, and more than all still works, it all sounds amazing. Quite an honor.
She's drowning all but her one true love.
Oh, real warm sound to it. Sounds good.
Hope rises like a falcon to the heavens, rolling gently down till the song is sung again. Is sung again.
Listen to that reverb. And
1 2 3 1 2
Sounded
3 1
great.
2 3 1 2 3. I started work in Abbey Road in 1964 or 65. I can't even remember. That long ago it was. We used to work on pop records like the Beatles and people like that. We knew every piece of equipment inside out, so you could quickly spot a fault. And that's what I did. And it was the best job in the world. Well, this particular one is a one-off. It's unique. This mixer, this particular one, was the very first one. It was Mike Gray and Jerry Kelly, Francis Dillnut, and we took it to Paris and worked with Patti Marconi in the Salle Vagram and did 2 operas with it. That was its very first job. And as you know, it did many, many famous recordings, and it sounded fantastic. And, we did Abbey Road for George and Jeff with this to make that album. It's a marvelous thing that they did. It was just out of this world, and such a good album. And it sounds so good because of this. Undescribable.
it looks like a cockpit. That's what it reminds me of when I look at it. It's like it's the cockpit of an airplane. I mean, that's incredible, and it does sound incredible. Debbie, can you still hear me, or did the world shut me down?
Tridon Professional Power Wash with a unique
I'm Barney Herbert. I've been in on this project since the very beginning, which seems an eternity, because the very first thing we had to do, looking at the parts we had to replicate, seeing how they were constructed, taking them apart, seeing what EMI had done, and then thinking to ourselves, well, it's pretty much like building the pyramids. The Egyptians did it. Surely we can. We had to start down a path of sourcing British manufacturers, specialist manufacturers in metal, in paint, in all kinds of things. The reed switches are definitely mechanically the most complicated. These were the ones we had to work with different manufacturers to try and recreate. And effectively what we have here is an original and one we made. And they are now pretty much identical. But in terms of electronic components, we had to look for original germanium transistors and try and source similar capacitors and new old stock where we could do, which we could in a lot of cases. But we were able to repair a lot of it utilizing the massive spares that Mike Hedges had gathered from Abbey Road.
Everywhere I went on this thing, I found it was extraordinary, the quality of the original construction, that here we were like 50, 60 years later, and I'm fixing faults in it. But for the most part, these are age-related faults. A lot of the components were still in A1 condition.
A shortest signal path tends to maintain the quality. It sounds cleaner, it sounds brighter, it sounds right there.
I think the input gain structure as well with the transformer and individual tap-ins, which is very unique.
We made lots of measurements of the original, totally original cassettes, the rebuilt cassettes, etc., the new cassettes. And we got like-for-like frequency response and total harmonic distortion and noise tests all matched up perfectly. But when we finally got to put the cassettes in and we put up a big pair of speakers and we sat there and we played stuff through it, it's like you shut your eyes and the band are in the room. So that for me was I knew we'd done it at that point.
Here we have an original cassette from the 60s. It's got a couple of new pieces in it, but 90% of it is original. And this is one of the new builds. And as you can see, there's...
That is incredible. Each channel strip pops out of the console, right? It's either, that might be a 24 track or 64 track, or it might just be a 24 or 16 or whatever. But each individual component pops out of it and you can actually replace it. So what he just popped out was a whole channel strip. All them knobs, that volume, mixer, faders, all that is one unit, and it controls that whole channel, that what you record onto. And that's incredible that you could just pop them out and pop them back in.
Almost no visual difference to them. The pots, the switches, all of the circuit boards have been meticulously replicated. Herculean task, I think is the phrase I would use.
Gabby, you're drinking a shake?
None could unravel dreams of his chase. To be true, absolutely pure, not a bed. Now every night they hear her cry, tongue-tied, tubes tied, not the way that I planned it. Heaven knows how I've landed in the company of a demon man. It's good to be dead. The company of a demon man. It's good to be dead.
Stupid commercials. All right, my opinion. I think it sounds great, man. Got a real warm, good sound. But of course, a board is only as good as its engineer and the surrounding or room that you're recording the music in. So I think it sounds incredible. But for 2.4 million, you'd have to have a bunch of Scooty Dooties to buy it and put it. You don't put that in just a regular. I mean, if you got money to blow, then yeah, I guess you can just put it right in your garage, but make your own studio, right? Well, who's going to put a 2.7 or $2.4 million console in a garage? Who knows? All right, let's keep going. But I think it sounds great. My stomach doesn't like cow's milk. Oh, you might be lactate, or whatever they lactate. You might be like lactating. I don't know what they call it, whatever they call it, lactate or who knows. Well, don't drink real milk. Maybe you should cut down at 2%. Let's get back to this excellent video.
And having spoken to some of the engineers from Abbey Road, who said it was the best sounding of the TGs.
These consoles were looked after by a guy called Brian Gibson. And 60 years later, we managed to get him to look after our team who were working on the console. Of course, Mike was the principal producer at Abbey Road, and he was known as Mr. TG. He knew the value of this console in the sound.
The team we put together were the best technicians in the UK. When we started rebuilding the console, our project manager was Brian Gibson. I said, just make it perfect. I want everything working. I want it absolutely perfect.
When the console came to us, it was a frame with lots of bits and things. And so Brian put it all together.
Brian was very tenacious. He would not sign anything off until it was absolutely perfect. It had to be to the EMI spec. Nothing, he wouldn't let anything go without it. And the sound is correct. I think that's the most important thing. It is exactly how it did sound when it was originally made.
His standards were so high and he was so fussy. There is no higher standard, I would say, in build quality of anything.
If you were a bath, I'd lie inside you for hours. If you were a hat, I think I'd cover you with
Hello,
flowers.
Cyber Warrior.
If you were an artichoke, I'd eat your heart out. If you were a sweater, I'd keep you warm till I wore the seams out. If I was a broken record, would you still turn me on? Even if I skipped a beat during your favorite song. If I was your headphones, would you leave me tangled in your pocket? If I was a missing sock, would you wonder where you lost it? Don't let go just yet. Feels like I'm fighting World War III against my past inside my head, and I'm losing. I think I'm losing. Oh, 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 I think I'll try.
Yes, I agree. Her voice sounds great. But once again, let me put in your mind that you're only as good as your engineer and the equipment that you have. And that microphone that she's using is probably about $20,000. And that's the truth, probably. If not more, just the microphone. But yeah, it sounds great. That is a great sounding board. Good God. And you have to keep in mind is Abbey Road was also famous for their reverb tank, which created luscious reverb. It was just unbelievable. I don't know if I had all kinds of money, right? If I was one of these billionaires or whatever, would I buy that board, that console? Yeah, because they don't make consoles like that anymore. If something goes wrong with the console, you got to tear the whole console apart. It's not like the Abbey Road where all you do is take a screwdriver and unscrew one screw at the top and one at the bottom, and the whole channel strip pops out on its own so you can work on it. Incredible. I mean, they don't make them like that anymore. You gotta rip the whole entire thing apart to try and fix it. It's unreal.
If you're a recording engineer and a Beatles fan and you listen to the Beatles albums, Abbey Road has a different sound to it. It's quite special for a recording engineer, sonically amazing. I mean, a beautiful sounding record. The designer, genius called Mike Batchelor, when this was built, there was obviously money, no object. They just wanted to make the best possible console. And it's quite different because of that. And it has the compressor limiters on every channel, which was the first in the world, I think, to have that. As a recording engineer, to have that facility, quite spectacular, to be honest.
Did you take your vitamin today?
I'm sorry, stupid commercials. Hold on. I mean, they're probably not stupid. The people that are running commercials on their channels are probably making money, so that's good. But for us people that are just watching, that kind of stinks. But I understand. One day I'll have commercials on my channel. Sounding good too.
It's only hearing 24 channels going with actual live music through it and seeing it being used as a real console without any issues. It's now no longer a museum piece, it's actually a working console.
It's bulletproof. It's worked perfectly. We haven't had a click, a crackle, a scratch, nothing on the whole recording in the last few days. Whatever you put in comes out sounding better. And I discovered on the TGs it has a sonic quality that somehow enhances the signal as it goes through.
It was a privilege to work on this piece of equipment, and to be given this to work on was unbelievable.
This was built to be the best. It holds up against any modern console anyway. No compromise. You can't replace this. Provided that a bomb doesn't hit it, it will always stay the same and be usable forever, because it does what it does so well. It couldn't be bettered. That's all I've got to say about that. Is that all right, Gov? It's 500 quid, please.
Well, that was incredible, right? I do believe that board is still on sale at Reverb for $2.4 million or something, unless someone bought it, but I think it was on Reverb or something similar to it. But man, what a console. Good God, that thing sounded great. All them people sounded great. It just sounded so warm, so tight, so compressed, and it's a board without mid-range compared to the boards today. Like if I took the camera and showed you this Yamaha mixing workstation, it's only a 16 channel, but it's also got mids, lows, frequency, and treble. So it's not like, and if something goes bad on this, I got to take the whole thing apart, and then you got to take the motherboards out, and it's just like motherboard on top of motherboard on top of motherboard. It's like weird. But with that console, it was actually designed where you can continuously work on it, and it wasn't a pain in the butt. If something blew, a transistor or whatever, capacitor or whatever, they just pop that channel strip out, work on it, and pop it right back in. You don't have to tear the whole complete mixing board console apart. Maybe we can do something with that. Anybody out there? Is anybody out there? That'd be a great idea to bring back mixing boards the old way. Of course, I don't know. All right. I want to thank you folks for watching that. Is there anything you folks want to say? Nothing? Nada? Debbie says, oh, you're so nice, Debbie. She says when she wins the lottery, I'll buy it for you. Well, it's probably already sold, right? Somebody with big money probably already bought it because they knew it's worth, right? They probably knew it's worth. And I mean, some big records probably were made on that, other than the Beatles and what we seen. So, all right. I think we are going to end this. It's getting later. I think I might make some tea. I think tomorrow is Easter. Yeah. Anything you got to say, Debbie, about that? I thought it sounded pretty good. Their voices did, but like I said, they had pretty expensive microphones and compressors and power amps and all that. So, yeah, I thought it sounded pretty good. Myself. All right. I've been under attack today, a couple days. Well, for my whole life, just about. But I'm lost too. I don't know what to believe, who to believe, what's the truth, what ain't the truth. Who knows? I think I'm lost in my own movie. I don't know. I'll make my way out. All right. You folks have a good night. I might be back. I'm bored. In pain. Twisted, turned. Debbie, have you been playing with your voodoo doll and me today? Just asking. I wonder if somebody else seen your video, Debbie, of your voodoo doll and created another voodoo doll on me. Probably, with my luck. Nah, well. Who cares? No, I haven't felt so good. Neither have I. I wonder if it was because maybe it could have been like a double voodoo doll on both of us or something, maybe, or magic or something. I don't know. And I don't even want to look it up, what they're doing, because that might be a form of I don't know. I'm just going to shut up. I need some cheese puffs. Maybe a grilled cheese sandwich. Calm me down. What do you think, Debbie? That's what I thought too. Sneezing and my nose is stuffed up. Got pressure causing headaches. Yeah. Relax. You're probably perfectly fine sitting on a beach right now. Going through my bank account, seeing how much more. I'm just joking. Or am I? I don't know. Debbie, I'm contemplating everything. Debbie. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who I should trust anymore. I'm being honest, I just don't know anymore. The only one you can really trust is someone you got close to, someone you hold hands with, someone you spend nights on the couch with. You cook and clean together. You do things together. That's probably, but I don't have that, so I don't know. The only thing I got to trust is God, family. But they've been possessed by this thing. I don't know what this thing is. It has literally been around me. It's just demonic, if you ask me. I don't want it. I don't want to learn how to control it. I'll let God handle it. As Debbie said, let Jesus handle it. I'm letting Jesus handle it. Jesus, take the wheel. Take the wheel. Let me see what Debbie's saying. I am sitting in the woods with a dang tree blooming. Oh, you're in the middle of right in the middle of the madness of sinus season. Yeah. I told you, get yourself a box fan. A couple of them filters that are pollen filters for inside your house. Tape them to both sides of your box fan. Turn it on high. That will filter out your house. Pollen, cat hair, dust. I'm just trying to help. I can't even help myself. I can't even help myself. Excuse me. Debbie, I've seen that photo you sent me of Bridge Guy. New photo out of Bridge Guy. You were asking, why is that photo so clear of his face? I looked. Because that photo has been photoshopped. That's why. You can tell what the way the face is planted on there. Now, if someone had a photo that clear, they surely would have been up, I know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go. I'm going to chill. Sometimes you got to know. You got to throw your hands up to Jesus. Amen. Amen. It's almost tea time. I think it is tea time. Make me some hot tea. That's why I ask you before I go crazy with stuff like that. Well, I'm not going crazy, Debbie. I've just been sitting on the couch here, making videos. Angry, frustrated. Contemplating, talking, making videos. All right. You folks have a good night. I'll be back with something else tonight. Who knows? Maybe a fire. Debbie, how things go? Debbie said I'm not allowed to have Pink Birdo, a special guest on my channel anymore here. And I agree. I don't want the upset people over here. No, I meant with fake pictures. Oh, the fake photo op pictures of Bridge Guy? Yeah, I know. I know you were going to make a big stink about it. You were like, look at this. I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? As soon as you sent it to me, I was like, where'd that come from? And I seen it. And I was like, oh my God. And then I opened it and checked it out. I can listen to Birdo all the time. Or I can't listen to Birdo all the time. No, he won't make a special appearance over here anymore. God bless him. But I want you folks to have a good night. I will be back and we'll make some tea and relax and do something around here. And take my mind off of the madness of YouTube. I think what they're trying to do, maybe Debbie, is trick me into believing what I've always believed in, just so they can lock me up, throw away the key. Maybe. I don't know what the deal is, but my gut feeling is I've been wronged. And so have so many others, not only me. No, and you, Debbie, you too also. We all been wrong. All right, you ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. I will be back with more content or videos or whatever.